Hi yoga friends. Today I'm going to address a little bit about how we can use yoga to help with pain in the shoulders. Now there are many conditions in the shoulders that can show up as pain, irritation, even radiating pain down the arms and up into the neck tension and pain. I think we've all experienced that. But I wanted to make this video because one student wrote that she feels like she carries the weight of the world on her shoulders. How many of you have felt that way? I know I have at times too. Well, I brought my friend, the Mini Skelly, to help us understand what goes on when we feel that particular condition. The shoulders are an interesting joint at best, and it's really multiple joints that are involved anytime we move our shoulders. The most common or familiar joint to everybody is this joint where the arm bone connects to the shoulder socket. It's a ball and socket joint. It's a very shallow joint. Only about 2/5 of this head of the arm bone rests in the socket part of the shoulder. So there's a lot of mobility here. This joint, we can rotate our arms inward, we can rotate them out, lift them up, bring them across our body. There's actually 6 different movements in the shoulder joint that can be done. Lots of mobility in that joint. The next joint is the AC joint, and it's right here where the clavicle joins the acromion of the shoulder blade. And there's a joint here, it's more of a pivot type joint. And it also, when we lift our arms up overhead, this joint pivots. So it's involved in shoulder movement. The next joint, which is really major for experiencing pain in the body, is how the shoulder blade or scapula moves over the rib cage. It's not a true joint because it's not supported on the rib cage like other joints are supported by ligaments and tendons, but it really needs to slide and glide all over the rib cage. And this is the big player when this shoulder blade doesn't function as it should, that causes the neck tension that makes you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. So when you work in the shoulders, you have to think about the dance that goes on. All of these 3 main joints, and even this joint in the front where the collarbone meets the sternum, moves with every shoulder movement. And so if one is out of whack, it's going to cause muscles to compensate, either to become locked really long and weak or tight and tense. Some of the muscles that get involved, the weight of the world muscles, are the trapezius. And I have here with some TheraBand the trapezius muscle on Mini Skelly. It's a muscle that connects at the base of the skull, and you can see why it can contribute to neck pain. And it fans out all the ways to the end of the collarbone. Here's the collarbone in front. And then goes all the ways down to the base of the rib cage. It's a big player. There's 3 different muscle fibers, or the way in which the muscles move in the trapezius. There's the upper traps, which elevate the shoulder blades along with the later scapula. There's a middle section of the trapezius and a lower section. Typically, this upper section is very tense and sometimes locked long, and that's it would be locked long, meaning it's really long and shoulders are dropped here. If you feel like you carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. And these guys, the middle traps and lower traps, tend not to do their role, and they sort of turn off. And so today we're going to tell it to the traps with our exercises. The other important piece to this puzzle is that there's a fascial line, and in earlier videos I talked more about the fascia, but it's connective tissue in the body, like a whole network through the body, almost like a communication system. So if something is tight up here, the fascial connective tissue is going to be tight, but it has an entire line that it moves along in the whole of the, this is one of the superficial back arm sutras or lines or seams in the body. It goes across the wrist to the forearm, all the ways up in front of the arm bone, and right along the trapezius to the base of the neck. So some of our exercises are involved in bringing a little more length to this fascia, or really fluffing it up and getting it to be a little more pliable. So check the next video for 4 exercises that are going to help us Tell it to the traps today so that you no longer feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders.